All right. What is up? We are live. What's shaking, brothers? All right. So, had last week off. I was a little under the weather and needed some time to recover. But it was a big week last week. I got a clips channel. I don't know if you guys are subscribed to it, but it's under Rich Cooper Clips, and we just passed 100,000 subscribers. So that's the second silver button. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the Clips channel, let me grab the link. Actually, I'll drop it in the live chat. Clips channel. Head on over and just subscribe so you don't miss anything over there. It's mostly the longer form content, sort of distilled down in more bite-sized pieces. So go check that out. There's loads of videos on that channel. It's good stuff. Let me just minimize that and remove. So we have a, yeah, Dante was asking when they give you the silver button. They don't give it to you right away. There's like a notification that shows up on your creator control panel, and it'll say you got to punch in a code, and then they'll ship it to you after that. So on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel, I don't think I got it until like 250,000 subs. They were really slow. So I don't know when it'll show up for the Clips channel, but I will let you know. Next one is a gold button for Entrepreneurs and Cars. Some of you guys asked what my sub count is. Tell you what, I'll put it up when we hit 500,000, and I'll put it up again when we hit 1 million. How's that sound? But I like to track views more than anything, so that's why you don't see it on this channel. So I've got an article here that was forwarded to me by one of my viewers a few weeks ago. And as always, I'm slow to go through them and, make a topic of it. I thought this would be a great piece for my live show. I've also talked about it in my book in the red flag chapter under avoiding the unhappy and unlucky, which is what I've titled this live stream, because it's essentially what you're dealing with. There was a survey done in 2020, March of 2020, which concluded that 56.3% of white liberal women under the age of 30 have a diagnosed mental health issue. So I thought I'd grab the article, kind of tear through it, and give you guys some of my thoughts and feedback. I'll be taking some call-ins tonight. So if you have a question or if you want to contribute to the topic, an experience maybe, I'll drop the link probably in about 20 minutes or so. Make sure you have headphones and a good internet connection, and we can chop it up a little bit live. So there is the housekeeping item. Let me grab the article again and throw it back up on the screen. The link, by the way, is in the description, guys. So if I ever cite any article or any information on one of my shows, it's always linked in the description. You just have to expand it down a bit, and you'll see it there. We got some of our good-looking brothers in the live chat. Got Moff, Infamous Rifles here today. Oh, welcome, bro. We got a good live account there. Oh, before I continue, let me just remove this real quick. Do me a solid, guys. If you're watching this somewhere else on the interwebs, come over to YouTube and just watch over here. It just helps me out with the algorithms a bit. And if you haven't smashed the like button, do that. So that's the YouTube link that I'm dropping there. Back to the article. All right. Article is written by a lady by the name of Elizabeth Condra. I always tell you guys to consider the source. This is your author right here. From what I understand, she's been through the liberal and conservative grind, so she's well balanced from what I understand in the way she does her writing. I'm going to skip through much of the introduction. You guys can read that all if you really want to. Again, the link's below. Women and mental illness. They talk about postpartum depression. 40% or women are 40% more likely to develop depression than men due to lower levels of serotonin. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's said something like 1 in 4 women are on antidepressants or SSRIs. These are not good things. They do all kinds of weird things to the human body, including pack on weight and mess with sexual desire and libido. So it's my view that you want to stay away from anyone or not invite anyone into your inner circle that's on medication like this. Not that you can't. You can do whatever you want with your time. Trust me. A lot of people don't listen to what I say, and some people point and sputter and get upset. But it's my view that if you want a easy and fun life, you want to avoid this. So that's what the Unplugged Alpha is all about. My book is a distilled version of everything I've put out on my channel. If you haven't read it, it's available on Amazon. It's a great day listen if you got a long drive. It's less than 5 hours in Audible, or you can tear through the book. It's about 200 pages. Grab it on Amazon. Depression, biology. Okay, let's go to the study. So here's what the study found. The study in question, which, by the way, isn't from a news source or a media outlet, but Pew Research, for heaven's sakes, is, when all said and done, pretty damning. Interestingly enough, the study, which is titled Pew American Trends Panel Wave 64, it's a bizarre title for the study, it was dated March 2020, over a year ago, yet it took a PhD candidate in a political science posting about the study on Twitter for it to garner even a smidge of attention. Interesting. So here's the link to the tweets, some of the charts that this guy distilled. I'll let you guys take a look at that if you want. I'll stick to this article here. Smidge of attention. The study, which examined white liberals, moderates, and conservatives, both male and female, found that conservatives were far less likely to be diagnosed with mental health issues than those who identified as either liberal or even very liberal. What's more, white women suffered the worst of all. Suffered. White women ages 18 to 29 who identified as liberal were given a mental health diagnosis from medical professionals. So again, these are diagnosed women. They're not... actually, I think in the first chart over here, yeah, the question that they asked them was, has a doctor, you guys probably won't be able to read this, but has a doctor or other healthcare provider ever told you that you have a mental health condition? And this is the percent that said yes. Women almost double the conservative numbers on the liberal side. But again, the question was, has a doctor or other healthcare provider ever told you that you have a mental health condition? So these are the ones that have been diagnosed. Now, when I posted the link to this live stream on my Twitter earlier, guys were chiming in and they were like, okay, what about the other part that aren't diagnosed? So there's a portion, again, it's 56.3% right here that were diagnosed by medical health professionals. What about the other 37% that aren't being diagnosed, that might be walking around, not dealing with these issues, mental health issues. Okay. Liberal or even very, what's more, white women suffer the worst of all. White women ages 18 to 29 who identified as liberal were given a mental health diagnosis from medical professionals at a rate of 56.3% compared to 28.4% in moderates and 27.3% in conservatives. 56.3 is almost double. Okay, we're talking almost double. That's pretty crazy. I don't know about you guys. I've dated a lot of liberal women identifying with liberal values. I mean, here in Canada, voting for liberal parties or socialist parties like the New Democrat Party, loving Justin Trudeau, loving, universal basic income, free stuff, free healthcare, free. A lot of that. Now, the study gets into why this is. So let's keep going down. Zach Goldberg, the doctoral candidate in question. This is the guy that posted the tweet thread that I opened up here. This guy, Zach Goldberg. The doctoral candidate in question consolidated the study info in a set of visuals and posted them on a thread on Twitter. You guys can check that out. But it's important to note that he clarified the following. I didn't write this thread to mock white liberals or their apparent disproportionate rates of mental illness. You shouldn't either, in quotations. Rather, this is a question that's unexplored, which may shed a light on attitudinal differences that's a new word, attitudinal differences towards various social policies. He's right. Dr. Lyle Rossiter, a board-certified psychiatrist who's treated mental disorders for over 30 years, agrees and adds that white liberalism thrives on supposedly championing workers, minorities, the little guy, women, and the unemployed, who they continuously see as wrong, cheated, oppressed, disenfranchised, exploited, and victimized with little or no agency of their own, a view that often mutates into the infantilizing and patronizing of certain groups within a narrative. When these raised to think reality is a subject bump. Okay, that's a quote from the article. The people responsible for the crime. So it goes on to talk about whose fault this is. So Rossiter, who was Rossiter? That was the board certified psychiatrist. Okay, Rossiter tells it poverty, disease, war, ignorance, unemployment, racial prejudice, ethnic and gender discrimination, modern technology, capitalism, globalism, and imperialism. And then it ends there. It doesn't talk about any of the other isms like Marxism or feminism. It's always the other ones, right? In the radical liberal mind, this suffering is inflicted on the innocent by various predators and persecutors. Big business, big corporations, greedy capitalists. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed last month, was it June? Was Gay Pride Month or something? Or LGBTQ+7, whatever all those acronyms are. You notice how all the big corporations are pandering to that a lot lately? They're trying to clean up their image. That's what I'm looking at anyway. So they're pointing and sputtering, Rossiter says. The white liberals are pointing and sputtering at big business, big corporation, greedy capitalists, and U.S. imperialists are the oppressors. The rich, the wealthy, the powerful, and the selfish. That's pretty much an exhaustive list of every grievance and every perpetrator that progressives see as responsible for these injustices, which plague our disenfranchised communities, while moderates and conservatives seemingly sit idly by, unconcerned with anything but their own privilege. But as the study exemplifies, the champions of these causes, white women in particular, aren't exactly living the liberated utopia they believe we should all be in living. Taking it seriously in closing, it's truly unfortunate that so many women are facing these kinds of issues, and that this prevalence of mental illness among progressive women might be being weaponized for political purposes. Gee, do you think so? If there's one thing this topic, you know what? All of this would get cleared up and go away very, very quickly. Policies would improve very, very quickly in Western countries if those diagnosed with mental disorders were not able to vote. Oh my God, Rich, did you just say that? I can't believe you just said that. Yeah, I said that. Hey, sorry, not sorry. But let's be honest. I mean, if you have a mental disorder, why should you be voting on policies that govern a country, right? Anyway, if there's one thing this topic deserves, it's delicacy and empathy, which I don't have a lot of. But you guys don't watch me for delicacy and empathy. You guys come here for the cold hard truth. That's what I deliver, right? We should feel compassion for these women, especially if we've struggled with mental health ourselves. But at the heart of the matter is this: progressivism is an ideology that supposedly demands equality for all. Yeah, equality of outcome is really what it talks about, and one that keeps score to an exhaustive degree. Yeah, you'll notice that these liberal, these strongly liberal women, very far left leaning, like to keep score a lot. I've noticed that anyway, personally, in my dating life. The privilege between social classes, between races, between men and women, between religious and non-religious and more, all have to be constantly monitored. And inequality has to be exposed for the purposes of accountability. That kind of behavior isn't just unrealistic, it's unstable. In all honesty, it's understandable that anxiety and depression thrive on these kinds of environments when we're focused on it every minute. Problematic issue in our world and not able to take comprehensive, productive action to solve these problems. I wonder how much of this is manufactured and intentionally put out there by these strong left-leaning liberalists. I mean, it raises the question, right? You know, to create an unstable environment and some of these mental disorders. I mean, it's almost like they're abusing these people. You know, they're using them for their own collective, thoughts and needs. We're getting into closing thoughts here, so we're almost wrapping up. There's also the unrelenting focus on oppression, verbal violence, microaggressions. We know that building resiliency against hardship is the best weapon against depression and anxiety. So why don't we focus on that? Why do we have to sit around and say, oh, poor you, we're very sorry about how you're feeling right now, and we're going to put a safe space here for you? How about just resiliency and hardship, right? That's what That's what I was made of when I was a kid. Resiliency and hardship, made kids stronger, turned them into strong adult men, the boys anyway. Yet progressive ideology forces its followers to wallow in feelings of helplessness and victimhood. It does. There's no, that's a pretty bold statement. Progressive ideology forces its followers to wallow in feelings of helplessness and victimhood. Does that sound like anything else out there that we've talked about on this channel? I don't know, like the black pill wallowing that we continue to hear about with these guys sulking in helplessness and victimhood. It's not that much different. I've said it for a long time. Instead of empowering women and minorities with self-knowledge, strength of character, and resilience to hardship, progressivism encourages victims to stay in a place of fear and helplessness. Closing thoughts. It's not just significant that women suffering from mental health issues are white, although we'll get to that, but especially that they're so young. 18 to 29, okay, where are these girls' fathers? 43% of households, single mothers. So they're starting off at a disadvantage. There's a lot of men out there that are not able to impress upon their kids, daughters inclusive. I've always said boys and girls need their father, right? These women are students, employees, moms, daughters, wives, and friends. They have goals and ambitions, yet who knows how hampered their day-to-day lives are by conditions they've been diagnosed. We can tell how hampered they are. You know what? Let me show you for a sec. Actually, here, let me finish what I'm doing here, and then I'll show you how these lives are hampered. There's a really, really good Twitter thread I got to show you. It's just off the chart. You guys are going to like it. Give me a second. I'll get to it though. But it's also key that white individuals are usually at the forefront of these movements, whether or not the group is being adversely affected. But most of us know by now, white guilt and savior narratives are pretty much as bad as any genuinely racist agenda, blah, blah, blah. We should be having the difficult conversations this topic requires. If you take a quick look. Okay, so too long didn't read, long story short, 56.3% of white women under the age of 29 that are liberal have diagnosed mental disorders by medical health professionals. Now, the author of this article goes on to say, they have goals, yet who knows how hampered their day-to-day lives are by the conditions they've been diagnosed with. Well, let's dive into that rabbit hole for a moment, shall we? Yes, Rich, let's do it. There is a page on Twitter, and it's called Libs of TikTok. Here it is. I'll throw that up on the screen. Actually, let me get my headphones because I'm going to need audio for some of these. All right. This will give you an idea of who these people are that are, what was the language that she used here? Yet who knows how hampered their day-to-day lives are by conditions they've been diagnosed with. Well, let's take a look at how hampered their lives are, because this is basically what we're looking at here. Let me grab audio. I got to pull this out. Share screen. Okay, let's try that again. Share screen. Chrome tab, audio. Boom. Share. All right. Let's go slightly larger here for you guys. All right. So let's see what we got here. This is an older lady, so let's skip over the older ones. Here's one. Here's a perfect example. It's a quick 14-second clip. So.
Or I can, hi there. You can either respect my trans homies, or I can identify as a fucking problem. And if I catch your bitch ass being disrespectful, your pronouns are going to be was, were. Thank you for coming, and have a nice day. Hi there. You can either.
That's just one example. Here's another one.
I often, so as a fat person, I often dread medical appointments because of blatant medical fat phobia. The last OB appointment I went to, the provider blamed everything on my weight and told me that I needed to go on a medication that made me feel really terrible. This OB appointment that I just went to, I've been dreading, and the provider was amazing. She asked me what my pronouns are. She asked me about my name. She made me feel super comfortable, asked me about my trauma history so that she knew how to touch me in ways that were not harmful. She just was like great. And I was crying before getting my blood drawn because I just never have good experiences with medical providers. And so, I don't know, I just wanted to share like some experience.
You guys can go and take a look at the, oh, here's another one.
I'm so fucking tired of this selfish, idiotic behavior. I have 1, 2, I have 3 fucking inhalers.
Okay. There's a little too much swearing on some of these, but I don't know, like, does that look like mental illness to you? I'm not a medical professional, but I'm guessing on a balance of probabilities, if you take a look at through some of these, you're probably going to start drawing similar conclusions. All right, let's move on here. Let me grab the invite link so you guys can join me on this as I kind of chop up my closing thoughts here. Copy to clipboard. Okay. Questions. All right. Make sure you've got a good interconnection, wired headphones with a microphone so everything works out tickety-boo. But again, guys, I've said for a while that you want to stay away from unhappy and unlucky people. Can you get into a relationship with people with mental disorders? Absolutely. There's people all around the world that do it every day, are married to people that are making their lives miserable. But I mean, I've had good relationships and I've had very, very bad ones. And it's with plenty of experience and enthusiasm that I tell you guys, stay away from people that are going to make your life a nightmare. This study correlates very, very closely with what I was talking about in my red flag chapter about avoiding the unhappy and the unlucky. If you're going to perpetually walk around in life like the globalists, the capitalists, the big corporations, the isms here and there, pointing and sputtering at everybody for your, I'm going to do this in quotations, misfortune, probably is a good indicator of somebody that you want to stay away from. Date them maybe, play them maybe if you want, but I sure as hell would not invite them into your life. I sure as hell would not wife them up and put babies in them. You've got to be intelligent about how you navigate life, guys, because out in the world, there are a lot of landmines and you can walk around them or you can step on them. You step on those things, you're going to cause problems for yourself. It's not something that I would encourage you guys to do. Now, again, it was 56.3% that were diagnosed by mental health professionals, actual medical professionals that are qualified to test these people and then diagnose them for whatever it is that they might have. There's still a good chunk of women out there that you guys are going to have to be careful with that have not been diagnosed, that are still potentially problematic. Watch their behavior, watch their past behavior, watch how they talk about exes. If every relationship they had was abusive, mean, did everything wrong under the sun to them, and they were a perfect little, a perfect little doll, you want to start asking yourself some questions. Take a look around. Moff's made a very good point here. There's too many Captain Save-A women out there. You got to be super, super careful with yourself. Don't invite these nutters into your life. Just quickly scroll up and make sure I didn't miss anything here that I need to throw up on the screen. I got some guys coming in live, so the link is there in the live chat. There was one here from DigiNomad. Pulled, learned late she's on meds. Yeah, hey, just take a look in her medicine cabinet early on. Just go to the bathroom, take a look in the medicine cabinet and see what's in there if you want. Women do it to guys all the time. So make sure you're aware of what's around you. All right, guys. So if you want to come on in and ask a question, contribute to tonight's topic, with an experience, or you got a question you want to deal with live, the Unplugged Alpha show is on, episode number 2. Let's see what we got here. So in the private chat, guys, when you come in, let me know what it is that you want to talk about so I can help sort through these. Devin's got a personal experience he wants to share, so I'm going to throw you on first, Devin. Add to stream. How you doing, brother?
Hey, good to see you, Rich. Thanks for having me on.
Good, man. You got a personal experience on this one, dealing with diagnosed crazy?
Yeah, I do. The last relationship I was in before I went full red pill was somebody who just was on a lot of different medications. And with the experience that I want to share to men in the
What
audience.
sort of meds? Like, are we talking SSRIs, antidepressants? Like, what are we dealing with?
Exactly. SSRIs, some panic medication in addition, right? Migraine stuff, right? This person would, faint on a regular basis, would be hysterical, which would, sort of have a train wreck on my day, right? Stop what I'm doing. This person's having a crisis. The thing that you realize when you date women like this is that, that female solipsism, that inability to be accountable goes through the roof, because now you're accommodating this disorder. And if you don't accommodate the disorder, you're not being understanding. So it becomes like something that gets weaponized when it's convenient. It's like, oh, well, that's my depression, or you don't get me, or I'm just not in the mood. And when you try to articulate a boundary, or, you try to communicate something, it just gets, it gets crazy quick.
How long did you date this one for?
I dated this person for about 6 months before I decided to walk away entirely, because it was like War of the Roses when the fights would break out. And
yeah, it gets pretty exhausting, doesn't it?
It's not worth it.
Yeah, that's what I've said, guys. I mean, you can date these women, you can wife them up, you can put babies in them, you can move them into your house, you can do all that stuff, but it's going to be exhaustive. You're going to be managing not just your own life, but you're also going to have to be managing her emotions, and you're going to have to soften your tone. You're going to have to water down a lot of the stuff that you do and talk about to accommodate her level of behavior and maturity on the topic, right? A lot of the times, guys like us, we can chop it up. I can talk about something, you're okay with it. I could even poke at you a little bit and you'll be okay, right? But when you start to do that with somebody that's got a diagnosed mental disorder, you're going to have to water down your conversation. You're going to have to not talk, like you're basically walking on eggshells dealing with that person. Like, was that your experience also?
Oh yeah. Like I would make a joke, in the car about something, right? Just whatever, some sort of pejorative term, because, I don't give a shit. And all of a sudden she'd be, affected, and I'd have to talk her through it and comfort her. And, the other thing that I want to weave into this is that, she was also, a liberal, white woman, right, in this demographic. And so I think it's almost like there's an obsession with you don't understand my trauma. You don't understand this, and that. So the imposition is on me when really it's her that's creating a situation that is unmanageable.
Yeah. One of the things that you'll notice, guys, because we talk about frame often, you want a woman that complements your life, enters your frame, doesn't complicate your life, sort of stuff, is with women like this, you're basically going to get sucked into the vacuum of their frame. They're essentially going to force you into it, because if you don't accommodate them, if you don't, water down your conversations and basically do what they want when they want it, you don't understand them, you're a bad guy. Like you heard a lot of the narratives that Devin was talking about. So that's a really good point too. All right. You got anything else for me on that, Devin?
That's it. Just wanted to give my 2 cents. And
great points, man. Thank you for contributing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Take care, bro. All right. Let's see what we got here in the chats. Again, if you guys are just piling in the private chat, just let me know what it is you want to talk about, so I can definitely organize and get through you guys real quick. Mark's got a super chat here. I spent 9 years with a depressed, overweight woman, both her parents too. Never again. I went from fit and strong to weak and brittle. Single 2 years. Rich Rollo and co gave perspective and direction. 9 years. Man. You can always make more money. You can never make more time. Honestly, guys, I would encourage you not to complicate your life in such a way. It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it. Forget it. Super chat there from Timus Maximus. No comment, just a donation. Thanks, bro. I think we got through these here. All right. Private chat. Let's see what we got here. Edgar's got something for me on leveling up. All right. You're on, bro. What is shaking?
Thank you for the book. Can you hear me all right, by the way?
You're loud and clear, man. Thanks for grabbing the book. Appreciate it.
So I'm glad to speak to you. You came into my life, I want to say in 2017, pretty low point, I want to say. Okay. So my question is basically, I'm kind of tired of banging low quality women.
Okay.
And Kevin Samuel says something, and I hate to bring it up because it's kind of off topic, but he basically gives the advice to kind of like become the better version of yourself. And
Sounds like he's been watching my stuff.
Yeah. So he basically saying that make the better version of yourself and find the best person that you can. Now, I always had a problem sort of like attracting the 7, the 8s, the 9s, and the 10s. And I don't really find myself, I don't know, up to you, your opinion. I don't really find myself really bad looking. I just find myself being short as an issue.
How tall are you? Like what short?
5'5".
Okay. So I got a friend that's the same height as you, man. I grew up in, with him in my 20s and 30s. We were roommates for 3 years. The guy was a Chad. We used to call him Pocket Hercules, man, because he was a little guy, but he was always jacked and looked good, and he had like the skin and the hair, and like he had everything down pat.
Gotcha.
He looks max everywhere else that he could because he knew that he couldn't do anything with the height. So that's one of the things that you got to do when you're a shorter man. How old are you?
I'm 28. I know I don't look it, but I'm 28.
All right. And what do you do for a living, and where do you live?
So I'm like a fine dining waiter, and as a side hustle, I day trade. I've been day trading around the same time that I found you to sort of like help me sort of propel. I didn't really go to school, so I kind of used the income that I had that was surplus. I was living with my mom, so my overhead was pretty cheap. So I saved a whole bunch, and every morning I would wake up 2 hours, and I've been doing it for 3 years now. This is the year that I'm possibly going to make the most money. I'm going to surpass 25K for sure in that account. Next year, I'm planning to open an offshore account that kind of lets me take a lot more margin. Now that I'm a little bit more experienced, and sort of snowball that. That's really what my plan is. And hopefully with enough money, I'll buy myself a property and start doing real estate as well. So
where do you live again? In what part of the world?
I live in the United States, Connecticut, to be more specific.
Okay. How much money do you make on an annual basis, roughly?
40K.
Annually,
40K.
And that's with your day trading as well?
No, not with that's not including. I personally like to remove that when it comes to that question, just because it's my skill I believe in, but I know the kind of profession it brings, it's unstable. So until I see myself doing it like a lot more consistent, having a lot more green days, I really don't want to add it to it. But that's 40K with waiting tables at a 5-star restaurant.
Okay. And I guess you were off for a bit during the COVID lockdowns too, right? So you lost some income.
Yeah. So definitely unemployment definitely helped. I stopped taking it in August. I'm kind of disgusted at people that are still taking it, especially men, for sure.
So what kind of women are you dating right now? I mean, you're 28, you're a decent looking guy.
Dude, I'm dating a 42-year-old single mom, dude, for the last 5 years. And
I need sound effects.
It's yeah, dude. And it's due to low confidence, man. And I really don't want to deal with the women at work because that could blow up in your face. My friends are all in relationships with beautiful women. I don't want a third wheel anymore. And
what do you think your problem is? It's not height.
I want to say the way, because I'm very smart, but I feel like at times when the spotlight's on me, I sort of don't really articulate myself, and it kind of comes off as unconfident, if I may say so myself.
Okay.
Because I can speak for hours. You'd see me rambling on right now.
I'm not getting that vibe from you, man. I'm getting the vibe of a well-spoken, smart guy. But I mean, we've got looks, money, status, game.
Gotcha.
How's your game?
Sucky.
Okay.
To be honest.
Status?
Still working on it. I don't have the status yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to I'm literally been breaking my head over this weekend. I'm just like, how do I put myself in uncomfortable situations to get the kind of outcomes I want?
Money?
And money, I think for someone who's on the path on its purpose, I think I'm doing pretty well for myself.
Okay. And looks. You got looks covered.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
By
So
the
I mean,
way,
like you have a look, you have a style. So you're missing out on three main areas, right? Like you want to be influential, right? To some
Yeah.
degree. At 28, okay. 40, yeah, you should be there closer. Money, I can tell you $42,000 a year doesn't cut it for women. Like women actually think that there's like hundreds of millions of men out there that are all 6 feet tall that makes six figures, and they're hiding in some corner of the world, away from them somehow, and they all have to find them. But the like women have very high expectations of men, right? So at 28, okay, fine, but you got to get yourself leveled up to the next level. I mean, that's why you're grabbing low hanging fruit like 42-year-old single moms.
Yeah, dude, and I'm kind of tired of.
What's the goal, man? Like, do you think that you can be making six figures by the time you're 30?
I think I could be making six figures in the next year and a half to 2 years.
Okay, so good goal.
Because, like, to give an example, a lot of my friends, got into day trading during the whole pandemic.
Okay,
and
stop there.
Okay.
Stop there.
Right.
Let's go back to status. What about waiting tables? You can say it's a high-end restaurant. You can say it's a Michelin star restaurant, but I mean, you're still waiting tables. You're bringing food to people. Do you think that status looks good on you for women? You want to date dime pieces, right? I mean, that's what you're saying. Like, I'm getting tired of dating like low-quality women. I want to date dime pieces. So do you think that waiting tables at a high-end restaurant is good enough for them?
I get to meet a lot of them. I just don't think they want to bang the waiter, though.
Boom.
I definitely want to.
Status matters, dude. Status matters a lot. I've got a client who's a very, very successful trades guy, makes $200,000 a year, but technically he's a plumber. Okay? He lost out to a junior lawyer at a law firm, probably making $60,000 or $70,000 a year if he's lucky, because it's one of these personal injury joints. He lost out to that because that guy looks like better arm candy on that girl. Grab the door. Go ahead.
Sorry, I got two pit bulls at home, so they tend to act out sometimes.
Okay.
And I get what you're saying, but so how do I guess my goal is at some point, I want to say in the next 3 years, just to stop working for someone.
Okay.
I really hate clocking into work. I'm what you call an unmanageable employee. Meaning I do a hell of a job, but I come in when I want and I clock out when I want, usually. And because of like the type of like the way my clients sort of react to me, for lack of a better term, I should find better words for that, but I get good reviews. So my boss keeps me around.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter what the reviews say. Doesn't matter if you get $100 tip. When you're on the dating marketplace, like when you're on the sexual marketplace and you're out there putting yourself out, trying to get the dime pieces. Hey, what does this guy do for a living? They have the choice between a waiter and entrepreneur, lawyer, doctor, dentist, engineer, scientist.
Gotcha.
Women are spoiled for choice. Like, one of the things that women do, and at some point you're probably going to go through this experiment. Some of you guys out there might have done this already, but you have a female friend, maybe a friends with benefits. Grab her phone one time and see how she enters the names of men in her phone as contacts. It's going to be Edgar, waiter. It's going to be Joe, VP of sales. It's going to be Rich, entrepreneur. It's usually first name and then what they do for a living. That matters. Like, that's part of the status component of you getting the reach that you're looking for. You want the dime pieces. You can't rest on your laurels. And even though you get good reviews and your boss likes you and people tip you well, you don't look like good arm candy versus somebody else that might have higher status out there. So as difficult as it might be to take this jagged little pill, you're not good enough for dime pieces.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I say dime pieces, but really I would love to land a cute 7 that's doesn't give me a lot of stress.
A agreeable cute 7 is far better than a bitchy 10. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you always say that, and I agree with you to this.
So what are you dating now? Like where do you put them on the scale? 5s, 4s, 6?
I would say the person I'm dating now, I would give her a 4, 5. Yeah, dude. Like I said, man, it was more because this is what happened to me.
Hold on
Really.
a sec. Hold on a sec. Give me just 1 second. Hold
All
on.
right.
Sorry about that. I'm back now.
So this is what happened to me. I mean, like I was high school sweethearts were really what really set me to just become very black pilled for like 3 years. I want to say I didn't start trying to date till the age of 21. She left me for another woman, so that definitely hit like it hit me like it hit my confidence, and I didn't want to get back out there. So my relationship muscles sort of atrophied, and I started just using dating apps and really just started avoiding women my age because of the amount of requirements that they have. So I just.
But I mean, you open with I'm dealing with low quality women that are exhaustive that I'm not interested in. So if you want to level up and you want to get the better quality ones, you're going to have to like is going to attract like in that sense, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, if you want to open up your opportunities and get more attractive women that lets you be the selector in that component in that relationship, you need to be spoiled for choice, and the only way that you're going to be in that position is if you become a better version of what you are today. Make more money. Muscles are important, of course. The optics of health. Like, you're not fat, right? Like I don't see a lot of fat on your face. I'm assuming that you're not a fat guy.
But I do have like noodle arms, basically. So
so muscles are important. Broad shoulders, narrow waist. Okay. Status is really important to women. As you get older, status becomes more important. Like if you have no status in your 20s, but you're a good looking guy, you're a Chad, you got some good game, no problem. But if you're 40, 50, you're going to have something to show for yourself. So just keep that in mind as you go as well. Right. But
gotcha.
Those are the main things. I mean, like you're aware of it. You know that it's a problem. You don't want to deal with the problem. So, and again, I'm not saying do this so that you're putting women up on a pedestal so that it's all about getting the girls. This is about opening up opportunities for you. This is about opening up doors for you. This is allowing you to be the selector so that you can get better results out of life and say no to low quality, say no to problems. And it eventually will put you in a position of anti-fragility where stress comes at you from different directions and it just bounces off you. It's like, it's like your rubber. Everything that hits you bounces off you, sort of thing. And that's something that you have to aspire to become later on in your life in the next decade or so. You got lots of runway ahead of you. It's a good question to ask. You're at a good starting place, but now it's time to do the work. A lot of guys, and I've covered this before and probably 2 or 3 episodes back, the red pill masturbators, they sit around, they watch content, they go from channel to channel. Sometimes they look for drama. Get on the soccer pitch, get on the pitch and try to score some goals. Get on the ice, try to shoot, for the net. Just get on the game floor and start playing it beyond just like the basics of messing with the 42-year-old single mom.
Yeah. Just a question. I know it's a guy like you who possibly has a lot of like high value connections, I want to say. Do you have any day trading friends?
I'm not big on day trading. It's not my thing.
Gotcha. But you are investing in crypto.
And I'll be honest with you. Like I have a lot of friends that make great money. They didn't make it off of get rich quick schemes, day trading, stuff like that. It's mostly from running businesses and then investing from the profits of that into either investments, real estate, crypto. You can go down the list. I don't know a lot of guys that have made vast fortunes by day trading anything.
Gotcha.
So just be really careful with that. Like a lot of guys look for the get rich quick sort of schemes, and I'm more of the get rich like as quick as you can, but do it on a schedule that's sustainable, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that I mean real estate's the goal, but I'm not going to be able to do it with 40K a year.
Yeah, don't focus too much on getting dime pieces right now. Like focus on yourself. Okay.
Gotcha.
Like, you know what you need to do. You know what areas that you're deficient in, level those up. You know, like at 28 years old, you shouldn't be putting your arm out and going like, hey, look, you know, I got a noodle here, right? You should be jacked.
Gotcha.
You know, your body's working properly. You don't need anything aside from diet, health, and exercise. So get on that grind, get on that purpose. Don't make any excuses for yourself. Don't rest on lazy laurels like, hey, my boss likes me or I get good reviews. Who cares? Who cares?
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for speaking with me, man.
All right, brother.
I really appreciate
all the best. Take care. All right. I got a couple of supers that piled in here, and then I'll get to you other guys in the waiting area. Where we go? Timmy. Cards fan LV. My ex-wife has anxiety panic disorder, and her favorite line would be, "You're causing my anxiety. 3 more years of alimony and I'm free." There you go, guys. You've been warned. Don't invite these, you know, train wrecks into your life. Chad Faust, truth, keep saving lives. Thanks, Chad. Thanks for the super. Jaleel, I dated a BPD girl in college. She slashed my tire while I was asleep in her bed. Also, their monster manipulator is good at dude, you're lucky it was just your tire and it wasn't a body part that she decided to slash or anything like that. Okay, we're all caught up. Let's see what we got here in the private chat. What do you guys got for me? Carlos, what do you got? Building my own business, 6 figures. Yeah. Okay, Carlos, let's go. What is up?
Okay,
Carlos.
can you hear me?
There you go.
All right, thanks, man.
What can I do for you? What do you got for me right now?
Wow. I stumbled across your content just recently, and man, I'll tell you, I was blessed. I had a lot of opportunities because my parents, you know, just many things aligned. So I had opportunities and contacts. I was doing great in business, all that stuff. But the only side that sucked was with women. I would find myself just on dating apps, hours, 2-3 hours a day. And then I had my business making, when I first started my business, 6 figures. And then I would just go back, like I would shrink and then be on dating apps. It was terrible. Hours on Instagram, just searching girls. And I didn't know, you know, why I sucked with women, man. I found your content and I was a little bit not sure. Watch more videos. Man, I'll say this. Thank you. Like what you're doing is just changing lives. It's insane. I'm free right now. Red pill, 100%.
You're welcome. Okay, so what are you stuck on, or is this just a big thank you?
No, just want to say thank you, man.
Good.
I'm not actually chasing women right now. You know what he said, the last guy on the call, single mom, 40-year-old, man, that's bad. So
28-year-old dating a woman that's like 20 years younger. Well, not 20 years, but you know, you get the point, almost 15 years older.
Yeah. That's crazy. So just one question. I kind of feel inside that, you know, I have my business. I don't really worry about money now. I live in Mexico. And should I just kind of just on the side search for a girl, or just like that for later on?
How old are you?
26. Next month, I'll be 23.
Yeah, you shouldn't be in a monogamous long-term relationship in your 20s, dude.
Okay.
That's like the growth phase. It's like laying the groundwork for your life. You're already making a lot of money.
Yep.
You're the founder of the business, like you're the entrepreneur behind it all?
It's a family business, and
Okay.
I got my own stuff out of it.
Okay, good. So, you know, work on building that up. I'm not saying don't date women. I'm not saying, you know, don't expose yourself, but just don't make the goal finding a girlfriend or a wife. You probably get some cultural pressure.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously going to be, you know, religion and culture to find a good girl and settle down, and why don't you have some kids and blah, blah, blah. You got lots of time to do that. You're not in the same timeline as women. This is a different time than what it was, you know, from your parents' age and your grandparents' age. You've got plenty of time, you know, wait till you're 30. Okay. And date her for a good couple of years to see what she's made of. Like, don't just, okay, I found a good one. It's been a good year. Let's plan the wedding and get everything going and do this. Date her for a good couple of years, 2 years, see what she's really made of. Let stress get applied to the relationship. See how she responds to it. Does she freak out? Can she handle it properly? Right. look for good, strong indicators like that. Okay.
I have one question. This obviously, I know, what are you going to say, but what do you think on this whole Russian Ukrainian dating kind of woman?
Yeah, I've covered that before. There's a lot of guys that think that if they like the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, sort of thing.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I've read that don't date American woman because the whole feminist movement and they don't care about gender roles, that kind of stuff. And women in Ukraine and Russia, they're feminine, but I also heard guys say they're gonna scam you. They just want your money or the visa, stuff like that. So I'm really
well. There's that component to it too, and it's true. It doesn't matter if it's Colombian, Venezuelan, Russia. It doesn't matter, dude. It's like the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. The grass is greener where you water and fertilize it, where you're standing. Okay, so if you have a thing for Eastern European women, so let's put it to that. If you have a thing for them, then I would say fine. Then date those kind of women if you find them attractive. But every culture has a different thing about them that you got to understand. Like Eastern European women are very, very difficult to manage on a long-term basis. They've got very high demands, and when you bring somebody from a foreign country to your country, they're going to get domesticated within the next year to 2 years tops. So whatever happens in that culture, they're going to start to look around. I mean, it's part of the reason why Eddie Murphy added that joke to his stand-up back in the 80s. I can't remember if it was Delirious or Raw, but Unfufu, the zebra chick that he brought back, and if you haven't seen the stand-up, you got to go watch the clip. Huff, Eddie, right? Within a year or two, and that was in the 80s. It was recognized back then that was common ground. Nothing's changed. It's just gotten worse. You're not going to get better women going to a different country.
Okay.
You're going to get different cultural. You're going to get different looks. European women are different from Asian women, from Venezuelan women. They look slightly different. They might have different cultural values. Yeah, they might be more feminine, but here's the thing. This is where most guys go wrong. They'll just import them and they think, oh, I brought this feminine woman, or everything will be fine. But you still have to have rock solid frame. You just can't rest on the laurels of, okay, I got a foreign bride, everything's going to be good, we're done. You still have to have rock solid frame, and you still have to date her for a good couple of years before you wife her up, if that's what you're planning to do, to have kids and stuff like that. Slow it down, make sure it's not like a whirlwind, let's get this done in the next 6 to 12 months. It's no, there's still a 2-year vetting period. See what she's made out of.
Okay, so 2 years.
2 years
minimum.
If you didn't catch the earlier episodes of the Before the Train Wreck, Sean Smith wrote this book. He used to run the show with me. You should read it, and he talks about that in his book from his clinical practice.
Okay, yeah, because for example, just one thing, I haven't hit the gym in years. Part of it is just I've been all my time devoted into my business, and just kind of look at my arms. I'm not it's
You're skinny.
Yeah. So I want to think I have to work more on that on going back and chasing women. And
I would spend more time on physical self-care, whether it's lifting weights, get into some kind of combat sport. Have you read my book?
No, I just bought it.
Okay, good. Because I cover stuff like that in the book, but do something for self-care so that you create the optics of masculinity and strength. Because it's one thing to try to lead a woman and to have her enter your frame, and whether you import her from Russia or if you get with a Mexican girl or anything like that, it's one thing to try to lead her and have her in your frame. It's much, much easier if you look the part too. Right? If you're strong, if you have broad shoulders, narrow waist, 6-pack abs, right? Like you take care, you've got combat skills, you know how to beat the crap out of somebody if the need, is called upon you, if you get into a difficult situation. Women will enter the frame of a guy like that and say yes more often to him if he looks more of the part. Sure, you can set that all aside and you can have rock solid game and you can, try to run that relationship, but without looking the part, it's going to be harder for you, man.
It's funny you mentioned that, because what I have seen is with the girls that I have gone out, and some, not all, but they know I'm doing well. And a lot of times the money that I'm making, it doesn't make the cut. Like it's not, I have seen it's not enough when they see, well, he has this part boiled down, but this other parts, I'm not so sure.
How much money do you make on an annual basis in USD? Roughly.
About 600,000.
On an annual basis, that's what you pay yourself.
Yeah, just that's profit.
You make more than enough money, dude. You make plenty of money.
Okay.
There's like, you're probably in the top 1% of all income earners in all of Mexico at that rate, right?
Yes.
Okay. So money's not the problem for you. You know, for you, it's things like game. It's like the optics of masculinity. You know, it's understanding and actually applying the red pill to your real life on a day-to-day basis. Those are the things that matters. And here's the other thing too. Guys like you are a target for manipulative women. You've got to be very, very careful, because as soon as a chick hears, oh, this guy Carlos makes $600,000 USD a year in a country like Mexico, where that goes really far, women will act. That's why I tell guys, give it a couple of years, see what she's really made of, see if she's really in your frame, because it's easy for them to act for 6 or 12 months to get the ring and get the wedding. Do it for 2 years straight. That's a lot harder. Right. So guys like you got to be careful, because, you know, if you let the wrong chick in your life and she's got mental disorders and, you know, you get married and have kids, dude, guys like you can get destroyed in the family court system. I don't know what it's like exactly in Mexico, but it's probably, pretty similar to what it is in US and Canada.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah. And my uncle, his wife just shitted on him. And
the biggest thing for you right now, Carlos, is you need to understand game and red pill dynamics to a T to protect yourself. Okay. It is probably the most important thing. I mean, you know, beyond, you know, the optics of masculinity and strength and game and, you know, significance and all that sort of stuff. But you got to be really, really careful, man. Because if you get bamboozled by some hot chick that, you know, just, you know, you let her in your life and all of a sudden, you know, you think, oh, this girl just gets me, you know, all these other girls never really got me before, but this one actually understands me for a change. You got to be super careful with that. So if you take anything away from this conversation, date for 2 years before you do anything with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Read my book and read Sean's book too, because that'll really help you out.
Okay,
You know, with the vetting process.
So I'll take a screenshot.
What's that?
Can you put it on the screen so I'll take a quick screenshot?
It's called The Tactical Guide to Women. Okay. Got it?
All right.
There you go. All right. Well, let me know how it works out for you, man. You know, come back in a few months and let me know how you're doing. All right.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right. See you later, brother. Peace. All right. Let's grab these super chats and we'll get to the next set of callers. We got about another half hour here. Thoughts on girls who use to harm themselves? Yeah. Why would you want to invite them in your life? They got cuts up and down their arms. Another like good cue or signal or observation, you know, if you will, for red flags is women with, you know, mutilations to their body. So whether they've cut themselves with knives, they've got like earrings all the way down one ear, piercings in their face, their cheek, their lips, different body parts, tattoos all over themselves. Tattoos on a beautiful woman is like putting bumper stickers all over a Lamborghini. You just don't do it. It just doesn't show taste. You want to date them, you want to invite them in your life. Hey, don't come crying to me when they become a problem for you. You know, you got to be careful with these sorts of things. That's why I'm talking about this sort of stuff for you guys, to help you avoid a train wreck. Good Lord in Mexico, I feel poor in the States making 120K, but man, he needs to focus on other things, not women. Way too young to get locked down. That's exactly what I was saying, man. A1 Mechanical, thank you, Richard, for everything you do. How do we get access to live calls, videos, and private calls with you? How much height does affect in today's dating market? 5'9" myself. I hope I'm not asking for too much. Yeah, if you want to hop in to the live show, here's a link. Ask a question. Boom. Just click that link. I always drop the link like 20, 30 minutes into the start of the show. If you guys have a question. So if you hop in, A1 Mechanical Oakley, let me know in the private chat and I'll put you towards the front because you made a generous super chat donation there. I'll make sure I get to you. But yeah, 5'9" is not a big problem. A lot of guys have this limiting, you know, belief on height because a lot of women ask for guys that are over 6 foot tall. But the stats are something like, I think it's something like 13 or 14% of the North American population is over 6 foot tall. It's just a reality. So it's not like all these women are running into, you know, basketball players that are giants. 5'9" is more than sufficient. And like I was saying earlier, you know, I had a roommate when I was younger that was 5'5", and this guy was a slayer. So it's not that big of a deal. I mean, unless you're like, you know, dwarfism or you got problems like that, you can usually work around it. All right, let's see what we got here with the private chats. Unplugged at the end of the one. Josh, 39, feedback about leveling up. All right, Josh, you're up, buddy. All right,
Hear me?
add to stream. There you go. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. So what's your question?
So, a little bit of backstory. Recently broken up like a month ago, right? She dumped me right on my ass. That was a wonderful experience. Got red pilled shortly after, and it was really the catalyst. Just like you say, you can't be shown, taught. You have to be shown, right? Next phase was me getting hard in the paint. Ended up, moving into a new place that weekend. Started working out with the elliptical in the back. Got the 3X set. Just started going hard into that, right? About 2 days later, I found the Rational Male, and then I found you, and then I found the Rational Male. So I've been plugging this into my brain ever since then, right? Just listen to the Rational Male twice, my head's full. Listen to your book twice at the same time. Read the Sean Smith book finally because I've been ignoring it for about 2 years and noticed a bunch of red flags from my ex right about the time. So it made the breakup a hell of a lot easier, right?
Okay.
The thing is, I'm 39 and I'm in the same kind of area that kind of you were in when everything kind of came crashing down. I went through some very similar, not to, compare what I went through to what you went through, but it was very similar. Kind of went through that kind of awakening.
Were you ever married? Do you have any kids?
I was married for 6 years. She ended up cheating on me. So I'm seeing the pattern with bad women that I'm not vetting.
Okay, obviously. But you got no kids, right?
Correct. Which was the major factor, but she had a lot of debt. So technically I have a kid that's still lingering. So I'm working on that. That's a non-issue. I make about 90 a year now. I just got a promotion on Friday, which was like what I needed at this point. So that is bringing me to that next level. I'm trying to get to 100 grand by the time I'm 40, which is literally, 6 months from now. My question to you is, at this stage, I'm hyper focused, like probably religiously focused on just the self-care, the working out every goddamn day, the making sure that I'm going in the right direction in terms of making bank as well, and trying to get the beard, grown out. It's in the month or so phase. So I guess my question to you is, for somebody who's in my age bracket, that's not, like the last guy that was on before Carlos, you did it and you were already a successful entrepreneur. What advice would you give to somebody who's in, further along, who's not an entrepreneur and needs to just, kind of execute?
Well, what are you trying to do? I mean, advice can be very general or specific. Like, what problem are you trying to solve here?
Got it. I'm just, for me, like, candidly, I feel very, Rollo uses the term zeroed out. I don't have a frame to pull somebody else in, so I'm trying to find a tribe. I'm hooked up on meetup groups. I'm doing Toastmasters. I'm trying to find people.
In what part of the world?
Spokane, Washington, which is east side of Washington.
Yeah, I know where it is.
A little
Yeah,
more
I've been there.
conservative. Oh, okay, cool.
Cool. So you're 39, Spokane, and you work. Sorry, you said in IT?
Yeah. I'm a DevOps or DevOps and project manager.
So have you always like beaten yourself up like this pretty much your entire life?
No, this is recent. It's the stupid midlife crisis rigmarole that I'm trying to push through, right? So there are girls on the periphery. I've been ignoring them on purpose. Maybe that's the trick. I just get under one to get over another. But it's a combination of that on top of, kind of where
and I'm not saying, being critical of yourself is a bad thing. Personally, I like it. I've always been my harshest critic. Some people will say, "Oh, look what this guy said about you," and I just laugh, dude. It's like I've been through the ringer. Like, read my book; it's in the intro. But you've got to drop some of this energy. I mean, it's like you've taken a burlap bag and you've filled it up with a bag of bricks and you're carrying it around on your shoulder like it's a prize or it's like some sort of symbol of accomplishment. They say that resentment and guilt are like the two most negative emotions that humans can have. One is towards somebody else's, one is towards yourself. And I think that you have a lot of guilt, towards yourself, the way that you're describing yourself. I'd put that bag of bricks down and just walk away from it, man.
Got it.
Like whatever it is that you need to do for yourself, making money, you know, becoming more significant, you know, having some influence, you know, making those muscles, of course, grow and losing the fat, along with learning the game. Like you got to stop feeling one part of that is pissed off at the world and women, which I don't think is your biggest problem, but I think you got some guilt that you kind of carry around for being bamboozled for so long.
Yeah, and that's of my own doing. I mean, I saw 15 red flags after I started getting into this thing. And you know, hindsight, right? Give it a couple of days and you start seeing them. You're like, okay, anxiety, cutter, best friend died, can never speak to me about it, you know, that kind of stuff, right? So
yeah,
it's, you know, it's just bad vetting on my part, right? And
you're
but at the same
always
time,
going to have to dig through a lot of dirt to find gold.
right?
Okay. And you might get fool's gold. So you're going to have to take your time and make sure that you always recognize, and it's basically what I concluded at the end of my book, is your greatest return on investment is on yourself.
Yeah.
Is on working on yourself and doing the things that will help you level up and pursuing those things fastidiously, you know, without apology, without, you know, bending the knee to anybody because they try to shame you or make you feel bad about it, men, friends, otherwise. You want to level up your circle of influence, join a dojo and learn combat sports, you know, go to a CrossFit and flip tires with a bunch of other guys and do stuff like that. I've got a men's community. It's easy to get into. I mean, it's behind a paywall, but it's behind a paywall because we have top shelf guys in there that are working on themselves and holding each other accountable. So that's something else you can look at as well too, right? But yeah, there's some work that you got to do on yourself, Josh. I mean, like, I feel what you're saying. Like, I get the vibe, but it's like, okay, it's time to drop the guilt and resentment and start getting the work done, right? You know, get on the arena floor and start playing the game.
Ex-Catholic, it's hard to get rid of the guilt. You know how that goes.
Well,
no excuses.
That's an excuse. Yeah, basically.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's everything out there that gets in the way of you and your goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you're either going to make forward progress or you're going to drop an excuse in there and be like, well, I can't because of my Catholic religion, or I can't because insert whatever next narrative is, sort of thing. Right.
Sure.
That's what losers do. Winners find a way. Right. So, I mean, you got to ask yourself, you know, what is it that, you know, that you want to do? Like, how bad do you really want this? You know, do you really want to have a better experience as a man in the world today? Do you really want to get better results? You want to be spoiled for choice and maybe spin 4 plates at the same time? Might be all 7s, 8s, or 9s, you know, sort of thing. But that's for you to get the work done, you know, to get there. Cool.
Thanks for the input, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Josh. See you later, bro.
Later.
Peace. All right, let's see what we got here. Got some supers that popped in. Moff says, get a better router, bro. Remember Rizzle? No, that wasn't it. This one here. Rizzle. Rich, is always great content. Question, mental health. What are your thoughts on men doing therapy? I'm curious because I've never heard you recommend it or talk about it. The kind of therapy that I like to do, I mean, I've been to marriage counseling. I've even done one-on-one therapy with a counselor before. I don't find it particularly effective, if I'm being honest. Masculine therapy to me is a better use of your time. I have a chapter in my book about why I think guys need to own a motorcycle at some point. I'll share this story. I was on the top floor of a building. It was a renovated Century home, and there was a psychotherapist on the main floor. And my window looked out on the parking lot. And I covered this, you know, in that chapter. But basically, I watched all these people over the last couple of years walk in and out of her building, and the vast majority of them were middle-aged women with RBF, resting bitch face. And they never had a smile on their face. When men showed up, same sort of thing. They never had a smile on their face. Nobody showed up on a motorcycle. Nobody. A motorcycle is a form of masculine therapy. Going to the dojo, rolling, doing, you know, jujitsu, striking exercises, and boxing is a form of therapy. If you need one-on-one therapy with a professional therapist that can help you move past stuff, hey, do that. I'm not saying don't do it, but I think that more often than not, a lot of the stuff that you need to hash out for yourself can be done on a motorcycle, in a fast car, with other men, you know, doing masculine pursuits. Those things, in my view, are a better use of your time. That's just my take on it. I'm not a big fan of a lot of these psychotherapists out there these days, because a lot of them subscribe to the I think it's the APA is the governing body. I might have butchered it, but there's a governing body that is basically prescribed in their manual to treat all men like they're toxically masculine when they come in for therapy. So if you're going to go in and you're going to say, hey, you know, I need therapy, but you're dealing with the wrong person, you're going to end up in a train wreck. So one of the vetting questions you probably want to ask them is, what do you think of the APA's guidelines on toxic masculinity? Right. And if they're like, well, all men are toxic and, you know, it's something we got to work out of them and we got to have them embrace their feminine side and blah, 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 click, hang up the phone, find another therapist, right? Find somebody that gets it. Enrique, thanks for all the content. I just want to jump in and ask for some advice. Okay. Feel free to hop in. I will definitely put you on if I see you. There you are, Enrique. Okay. So I'll pull you in next. Kevin, Carlos Palma hit me up. I also live in Mexico, been following Rich for a while. Good stuff. Glad you're back up and running. Thanks, bro. Glad to be back on. All right. Enrique, I'm going to pull you in, bro. What's up, brother?
Hey, Rich. Nice to meet you virtually. My
What
bald
is
brother
up?
from another mother.
What's going on, man? What can I do to be useful for you?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you, man. I'm 18 and your content has been amazing. I've learned a lot. I've been watching it for the past like few months. And also I got your book about
Kick
a few
ass.
days ago. I'm
Right on.
only 3 chapters into it, but I'm really enjoying it, man. It's really good, and definitely like you say, I feel like, you know, you say like the red pill is like a lens, right? Like once you have it on, you see things in a different way.
You do.
And because I was at Walmart the other day, and yeah, I saw exactly what you say, man. The man, he had 2 kids, and his wife was overweight, and she was just yelling at him, you know, like so. Yeah, I just want to say that, you know, thank you for the content. It's really helped me. So I know you kind of made a video about this topic about guys in their 20s. I'm 18, so what sort of life advice could you give me, particularly financial?
Particularly financial advice?
Yes.
Well, you know, I was asked this earlier this morning. I did this interview. If I was giving advice to my 20-year-old self, assuming that I would listen to this older, bearded, bald version of myself, I would tell him, as far as financial advice goes, is to get familiar with the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and decentralized finance. You put some money into that, and you make some good choices. Best case scenario, in 10 years' time, by the time you're 30, by the time it's 2030, you're a multimillionaire, right? You know, worst case scenario, didn't work out and you've lost some money. It doesn't matter. You're still 30. You got a lot of runway ahead of you. You can still pick yourself back up and, you know, start all over again. I'm not saying that, you know, you start at 20 and then just sit on, you know, whatever it is that you invest in for the next 10 years and not do anything. But get familiar with the blockchain, get familiar with cryptocurrency, get familiar with decentralized finance. It in my view, should be the future. And I've put my money where my mouth is, man. I've heavily invested in it. So that's where I would be looking if I were you, bro.
Okay, thank you. And also, what other like just, you know, kind of general like red pill job related life advice could you give me?
Take bigger risks. When you're in your 20s, chase excellence, not women. Take bigger risks. Right?
Yeah.
You can make mistakes. You can lose the farm. You can lose everything at 18, 19. You can do it again at 21. Dude, you're still 21. You know, you're 22. You got way more life ahead of you than what you've got behind you. Guys like me, okay, I've got less life ahead of me than what has passed me, right? Because I'm close to 50 now. So when you're younger at your age, you should be playing to win. Okay.
Yeah.
When you get to my age, and you've accumulated some wealth and you've done something of some significance, that's when you start playing a little bit more not to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see. Yeah, thank you, Rich. Yeah, because yeah, that's my plan. I've heard a lot about what you say about how like when you're like, you know, 20, when you're in your you know, later teens, you don't recommend monogamous relationships because like
Do
they can
not
be
get a
lot
girlfriend in your 20s. Yeah. I've already
Yeah.
covered that though, so you already know that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, and yeah, focus on myself. So I just want to say I have a YouTube channel all about self-improvement, and I wanted to make that my you know, source of income. I still haven't been able to. It's still pretty small, but I'm gonna be a pro fighter. I'm actually moving to San Jose, California. I live in Ottawa, and
Okay.
John Fitch actually lives there. Yeah, so I'm very excited about that. I'm putting in the work, like you say. That, you know, I'm very grateful for your content. running in the mornings, putting in 18 kilometers of road work. I'm training Muay Thai what I can at home, and just very happy, man. Your content is really helping, man. Thank you so much,
Excellent.
and you helped my friend. So
All right,
thank you
man.
for your advice. I hope you're feeling better, and all the best.
Thanks, man. All the best, bro. Thanks. Excellent. Love it. Love it. Let's see what we got here with these super chats. Really appreciate your answer and offer. I don't think I'm ready at this moment to come on public. I'm just going to do some tough time in life. Might consider private talk. I know you're not cheap, but if can drop a link, I will check it out. Yeah, if you want to book me for coaching, I mean, I generally work with 7-8 figure guys now, entrepreneurs, doctors, lawyers, like top shelf guys up there. So if it comes to stuff like that, there's usually a link in the top pinned comment of all my videos. Otherwise, there's lots of other guys out there. I like, I sometimes recommend guys, like if it's got stuff to do with game or like basic stuff, book a guy like Paul from Apex Mindset, because, he's a pretty decent dude. And he's got that covered. Let's see here. My area of expertise is just a little broader just because of my experience in life. Owning a Supermoto WR450 on one wheel is the ultimate therapy. Yeah, telling you guys, motorcycles are therapy. Thanks for the motorcycle advice. I will add this together with BJJ. Need a lot of therapy at the moment. Definitely. Good. Oh, you can also, if you want to talk to Moff, you can find him on Stereo. He's got a show there, and he'll do a consult with you too if it's got to do with game. All right, let's see what we got here. Guys, in the private chat, let me know what it is that you want to talk about, and I will pull you in. Let's see what we got here. We got Vin. I'm going to start removing some of you guys that are just kind of watching from the back end that have already come on. Chris Lee, Carlos Palma. All right, let's see what you got for me here. Carlos. Got another Carlos. You're muted. Oh, it's the same Carlos.
Yeah, it's the same, man.
You just put on your glasses and changed your shirt, man. What are you trying to do? Sneak back in here?
The jacket.
Come on. What's this game you're pulling on me? You got another question for me? Real quick. Do it.
Yeah.
Because I got a lot of other people back here waiting.
Just the guy that says the monogamous on the relationship. I'm trying to get out of that because to my parents, man, I was heavily brainwashed by that. Damn, this is a tough one. Mostly being my age, sometimes I have friends, but sometimes I feel alone.
Let me stop you there. You're too young to even be having these conversations about contemplating monogamy, relationship. Right. Focus on that part of you that I mentioned earlier. Okay. Contemplate the type of relationship that you want in like your late 20s, early 30s. Look at that then once you've figured that out, because there's so much for you to contemplate. You have to get your head down, all that. So go through the material. I've made some recommended reads for you as well. Do that first, brother.
All right, man.
All right. Take care. All right. I'm going to pull you out of the waiting area just to make room for a few others. So if you guys have come on and asked your questions, just do me solid and just make some space for others. What do we got here? Billy, I see you in the waiting area. Do you have your thing over here? Turtle. No. All right. I don't see your thing, Billy, but I'm going to put you on. So what do you got for me, my man?
Oh, well, I just want, can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Awesome. Just want to get this out of the way. I bought this, read it twice.
Good.
Review
good.
On Amazon. Great.
Thank you.
The reason why I bought that, because I had this cousin, she, to make this YouTube friendly, she attempted a permanent solution on a temporary problem.
Got it.
Got dumped by her boyfriend. And I talked to her every day for like an hour or 2 hours for like a month. Now I went through all the magazines and books, tried to figure it out. But like I had this feeling that this wasn't right for me, because after every conversation, I would just like all my energy would be gone, Mm-hmm. So when I came across
an energy vampire.
Exactly. And there's more issues, as I found it from your chapter on red flags. like your chapter on managing your Fs really changed my life, you know? And I showed it to her and just kind of like, but like when I read your book like a second time, I noticed red flag number 1, which was daddy issues. And I didn't hear about this before, like borderline personality disorder. She had all the symptoms.
Is this question for you or is it for your cousin?
Oh, sorry, it's not really a question. It's just
it's
a really
a share.
long-winded. It's a really long-winded way of saying thank you for getting me out of this. I just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents. Like when you are, no, this is like a family member. Okay, this isn't like I'm dating somebody.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when you have like a family member or a friend who has, you know, that kind of issue, it sucks your energy. And a lot of times, especially, I think maybe I'm being unfair, but women, when they get like therapy or you're talking to them, they're not really listening to the advice. It's like they're there for the validation, you know, like they want to validate their feelings.
So my question is, why are you wasting your time then?
Well, I stopped. Like this was like a month and a half, and I got sick of it. And like as I was reading your book and seeing more videos, I was like, this has got to stop. And I actually told her, I think you might actually have BPD. I like forwarded her like a list of all the symptoms and possible treatments, and she told me like her therapist actually diagnosed her with that, but she wasn't doing any of the stuff to you know.
So the lesson here, Billy, is don't waste your time on people like that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you find like people like that are what I call assholes.
Yes.
They ask, you know, for your help. They ask you a question. You provide feedback. You maybe provide an answer, but they do nothing with it.
Right.
And that's why you feel exhausted, you know, at the end of that conversation. That's why you feel beaten down, because that person's an energy vampire. So you have to get good at identifying these people and not wasting your time on them.
Precisely.
Right. I mean, there's better things that you could be doing with your time. I mean, I'm sure there's areas in your life that you could level up on, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
right. So why, like who cares that she's your cousin? It shouldn't make a difference to you if they're not willing to do the work and they're going to behave like an asshole.
Yeah.
Let them figure out their own problems. You got better things to do with your time, right?
Yeah, I did come to that conclusion. You know, I sent her this video you did 5 years ago, like how everybody is in control of their own life, and she was like, "Oh, I don't like the tone of it." Like,
yeah, who cares? Fuck you. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
So, yeah, I liked it.
I don't like his tone. Good.
That's very common. You hear.
Then sit there and play the victim card and join the 56.3% of, you know, liberal women that want to whine and complain. Not your problem. Don't make other people's problems your problems.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
just wanted to warn people. So, but thank you very much, Rich. Yeah.
Thanks.
Take care.
Peace. All right. Let's see what we got here real quick. I'm going to try to get to one more. Hi, I'm 17. I have stuck a job for 6 months and working on my physique. I have to say, I'm not sure what I should be doing right now. What do you think? Too broad of a question, man. Don't know enough about you. Hop on and ask that live on the show. Okay, I think we're all caught up here. Motorcycle advice. Oh, look, we have a few women here hiding on Facebook that don't want to come on live and talk about their grievances. Lines are open to everybody. Men, women, young, old. Don't sit there and point and sputter. Hop on the show and let's chop it up. That's the way it works. Okay. I'm going to do one more here. Let's see who we got in the private chat. Got a story pertaining experience regarding mental illness. Brian, mental illness. Okay, you're going to be my last one. I'm going to pull you in here because you have an experience on the topic tonight. What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going, Rich? Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, man. What do you got for me tonight?
Oh, fabulous. So this is when I was in my early 20s to mid 20s. I was in a monogamous relationship for a little bit.
Yep.
This lasted for about 3 years or so. And during the time, at the beginning, it seemed all fine. until we had an argument pertaining to. I'm trying to recall. This is a couple years ago. So, anyways, the reaction of knowing that she had all this mental issues.
Was she diagnosed with something specific?
She's on antidepressants, and what was the argument? So I get a text, and I just get in my garage, and all of a sudden she's like, Brian, this is the last time you're gonna ever talk to me. Like, what does that mean? Like, we break up or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I message her in the morning, like, hey, good morning. And she says, Brian, and long story short, she tried to kill herself, taking pills. So, and eventually that led to an argument, and I never noticed it before, but she had
what was she diagnosed with? Like, why is she on antidepressants?
So
because they wouldn't give her antidepressants unless they diagnose her with something, right?
Yeah, and it was a whole slew of things, and at the time she was going through different ones. I don't quite recall exactly the exact mental issue she was having. She also was getting treatments from, it's almost like a seizure treatment, like they're doing electric shock therapy. Yeah. Yeah, her parents are multimillionaires. Like the first.
Was she super hot or something? Like, you know,
Yes.
You just look past that.
Yep. No, you're 100% correct. Her parents are like, when I first went on a date, she was like wearing Gucci, and I'm like, holy shit. And mind you, I just started it was my first year as an automotive engineer. I'm here in the greater Metro Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved from actually kind of by Spokane, Washington, where that guy's from North Idaho, and ventured out, when I graduated. And anyways, so she's done like 20 something of these electric shock therapies, which she had short-term memory loss. Like, there's a lot of times I need to repeat myself, and like a whole slew of other things. And eventually she started kind of getting better, but it's just like one thing after another. You're saying like emotionally draining, just like little things like, oh, you never talk to me or whatever.
How long did you date her for?
For roughly about 3 years. Yeah.
You went through that for 3 years.
Yeah. And I think that's attributed to a little bit towards my childhood, but I don't think I want to be diving into that, just in the respect of being utilizing the time and the subject matter that I'm presenting. And so I started kind of doubting myself as far as like where I am on the social hierarchy as far as the sexual market value. And so I did an experiment. I was in Florida for 3 weeks. And so I added Bumble and Tinder just to see if, like, based on like the top 20% of men get the swipes, right? And I think on Bumble, if I recall right, it like you can swipe to, I think, 50 people like per day. Anyways, at the end of it all, I had 300 some women within a 3 week time period that liked me. In that respect.
Okay, let me stop you there, because I mean, like, the whole thing with the pull in on this was like you had an experience to share with a woman that had a diagnosis and was also on SSRIs or antidepressants. I want to stay on that because it kind of contributes to the topic tonight. So what advice would you give to what advice would you give yourself if you could go back and talk to yourself before you entered that relationship with that chick?
Okay. Yeah. Looking back at it now, it's knowing how she reacts if you get in an argument. Because sometimes there will be, and on top of that, she was also sexually abused from her previous boyfriend. Yeah. So the first time we ever had like a sexual encounter, it was fine, but I heard it the next day, and almost making like sexual accusations that like I, was forceful on her or anything of that sort. And
you gotta be careful with that, man.
Exactly.
You gotta be careful with stuff like that.
And seeing all these red flags. So from that, like you were stating, any body like cuts or any of that sort,
right?
I looked past that, and she had those. The way she reacted, like,
was there any accountability taken by her for her results in life? Was there any ownership taken?
There actually was a few times, like, because I'll stop talking to her when she freaked out. I was like, went cold shouldered. I'm not gonna talk to you. It's like when you want to talk to me and actually
So the
like,
accountability was taken when you soft nexted her.
Yeah.
And then did that stay, or did it go away when she resumed the relationship?
It went away for
Okay,
for
so
a
that's an
period of
actor.
time.
Okay, so that's an actor. Okay,
Okay.
so that's pretty common with borderline personality type of women, right? Is they're hot, they're cold, they make you feel like all of a sudden they just get you, sort of thing. You got to be really careful with that. Have you read my book?
I have. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just I read it pretty much the day after you had it on Amazon. So.
Okay, good. Yeah, go through it again. I mean, there's stuff in there that you probably need to refresh yourself on, but I'm going to move on because we're getting close, the wrap up time. But that's super important to consider too. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, man. Take care. All right, let's start to wind down the show. Do the credits and go. I see. Which super chat did I miss here? Here we go. Hey, Rich, I'm wondering which books you should recommend for learning entrepreneurship. I'm a 20-year-old neuroengineering student, and I want to be self-employed inventor. Thanks for everything. I'd recommend reading biographies of other men that have done stuff like that. Shoe Dog is a book on the Nike story. Losing My Virginity is Richard Branson's biography. The Everything Store is basically on Jeff Bezos on Amazon. Those would be the main ones, I'd say. And it's just to get yourself in the mindset of thinking outside of the box. The one on Steve Jobs as well. I haven't read it yet. I've heard it's good. I've got it on my list. But you've got to learn how to solve, like the biggest skill you need to learn as an entrepreneur is how to solve problems and how to be innovative. Okay. Those are the biggest things. And if you don't know how to do it as a 20-year-old, totally fine. But success leaves clues. So for $10 or $15, whatever the book costs, grab those books, level yourself up, and get the understanding that you need. Let me make sure I got them all over here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I think we're all caught up. Another super here. Getting a Dear John letter on deployment. More of a statement than a question or anything. But yeah, that's it. So before I go, guys, real quick, let me shout out to the channel sponsor, Tactical. There it is. Boom. Here. Coopersoap.com. You can grab the channel sponsor's product. It's beard oils, soaps, pheromone sticks. Pheromone sticks are kind of hidden by the Osmo over here, but these little guys, they're touch-up sticks. They're all very, very high-quality products, guys. They don't have any endocrine disruptors in your toiletries that are going to ruin your ability to produce testosterone and balance everything out properly. They're also pheromone infused and they're handmade and natural. So if that's something you want to consider checking out, you're showering anyway, take a look at coopersoap.com. Again, if you're watching the video on the replay, it'll be pinned in the top comment. There's that. And there's a couple of guys in the show tonight that was asking about finding other like-minded men that can hold them accountable. Right there, entrepreneursincars.com community. That's my community. Bunch of top shelf guys from around the world. There's a lot of local meetups happening now. Guys getting together and posting in the private community for accountability and help on stuff that you're stuck on. You can take a look at that link and see what's all involved. There's a video there that explains it. So just check that out. And before we wrap up, next week's show, again, Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't got the literature, it's on Amazon, the Unplugged Alpha, in Audible, print, and Kindle. It is a great read. Grab it. It is awesome. Make sure if you have read it, you leave a review. And again, to all the keyboard warriors out there that I've seen in the chat running their mouths that are cowards and don't want to come on the show to challenge me on what it is that they feel like they need to run their mouths on. Next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be on, run a monologue for 20, 30 minutes, and then drop the link to join. So rather than be a keyboard warrior, if you have a different opinion or a better solution to something I've addressed, get in there, man. Absolutely get in there. Just last question. Are Brazilians in the community? I don't have a lot of guys in South America right now, if I'm being honest. There's probably a handful there, but not a lot. So don't expect any opportunities for a local meetup, but you'll get a lot of online support. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. The Unplugged Alpha show resumes. Episode 3 is coming up. Keep an eye out on my social feed on what the topic will be. If you have any, by the way, any articles or any topics you want me to hit on that you come across, just email them to me. I don't get a chance to respond to everybody, but if there's something that comes up that catches my eye, I may make it a topic for a future video. So we'll see you guys real soon. Have an awesome night. Peace out.